For many Australians, the dream of owning a home is becoming harder and harder to manage. As interest rates and living costs bite, more borrowers are finding there's little room left in their finances, and the fear of missing a payment is growing.
So what actually happens if you fall behind on your mortgage, and what should you do before things escalate with the bank? For more, we're joined by Sally Tyndall, Canstar's Data Insight Director. Good to have you with us. So what happens if someone misses a mortgage repayment?
Okay, well, technically, if you miss a payment, you could get issued with a default notice. This is information from ASIC. When you get issued with a default notice, you've got 30 days to pay the money that you owe and continue paying your existing mortgage. If you don't, then you can expect the legal letters to start coming through and the process could be underway for repossession. But in practice, it is very different because the banks know that people make mistakes from time to time. You might not have the right amount of money in your account when they take out that direct debit. So what typically happens is that, you've got 5 days or so for them to keep trying that direct debit before you're going to get hit with a late fee. Late fee of what? $15 or $20, and then 14 days before they report it down on your credit file. It can vary from lender to lender. So obviously check those things out. But you've got to understand, the banks do not want to repossess your house. It is incredibly ugly for them. It's costly in terms of admin and legal costs. They end up with a home that they then have to sell, and then they ultimately lose a customer. So they're going to work with you to find a path through. The key is to call them before you miss that repayment.
And then what will happen?
So they will sit down and look at all the options for you. But before you do that, I would say, first thing you do when you think you might miss a repayment is see if you can get a rate reduction. Because once you're into that hardship process, getting a rate reduction is probably quite hard. So first up, you call your bank and ask for a better rate. They might say yes, they might say no. It is worth that phone call. Then you go and look at your own finances, see what other bills you might be able to switch. Say you can switch your electricity, put that extra money into your mortgage, start building up a buffer. Consider taking on an extra job, just temporarily, to get that buffer going in your mortgage, or do something a little bit drastic like selling a second car or cancelling your next holiday. All temporary measures to get yourself ahead. Then, if you can't meet those repayments, then you go and talk to your bank about your hardship options before you miss that repayment. They can do things like switching you on to interest only, extending out your loan term. You've also got to get financial advice.
What are some of the common traps you should try and avoid?
Okay, well, first of all, don't put your head in the sand, because no one starts out buying their home and thinking, oh yeah, one day I might default on this, right? So when you start, it all starts piling in on top of you. The natural inclination, it's human nature, it's to stick your head in the sand. That's the worst thing that you could possibly do. The other thing is you don't want to be reaching for something like the credit card. It is bad debt, it is high interest debt, and it is not going to be enough for the problem to go away. It's actually going to make the problem bigger. Now, once you call your bank and you ask formally for hardship options, it will end up on your credit file as that you're in a hardship arrangement, but, it kind of hits pause on things. It gives you time to just, make a plan. So you don't need to make any big decisions quickly. You've got time to go and get yourself that independent financial advice, work through the options with your bank, but also do not ideally raid your super. You can access your super early if the bank is about to foreclose your home, right? You've got to be a really long way in the process.
But plan before that. Thank you, Sally.